Damn, what a topic this week, another provocative one, this thing called knowledge. And again, just one of those infinite topics. And it seems like just by dipping our minds into it, there's so much that could be availed to us. Uh, no less an authority than Albert Einstein said, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know. Of all people to say that, the man who is largely attributed to being the greatest scientific mind of the 20th century, uh, says that the more he knows, the more he realizes that he doesn't know. Now, of course, that quote is one of many attributed to him. Did he really say that? Because there's a lot of greeting cards out there that say something that Albert supposedly said that he didn't say. So we need to be judicious about using Einstein quotes. But if he didn't say it, it's a great quote anyway. The more I know, the more I realize I don't know. Shouldn't it really be the more I know, the more I know? I mean, come on. The more I know, the more I know. It's just a accumulation of knowledge. And the more knowledge I get, the more I've accumulated, which makes me more, more intellectually astute. And boy, there can be a problem in that, because then we get to this point where we think we can figure everything out. But I would say when it comes to me, and you can tell me what you think about yourself, it seems like the relation of what I know to what I don't know yet is essentially an infinite ratio. There's so much more that I don't know than I currently know. And I've got this sneaking suspicion that that will always be the case, because I live in an infinity of knowledge and wisdom and intellect and intelligence amongst many other infinities. So how am I to gather more of this knowledge? And sometimes I wrestle with knowledge so much that I struggle to quote unquote figure everything out. And that's when I seem to get myself in a little bit of trouble. I seem to get in a little bit of a bind. So speaking of getting in a bind, I'm going to bring up, when it comes to intelligence and knowledge, creativity and inventiveness, our friend Thomas Edison, who actually was sort of a miserable human being when it comes to his traits and characteristics, his personality. He was kind of a jerk. But boy, every time we turn a light bulb on, should we be grateful? But his life was so interesting and so fascinating to him. And of course, he is attributed to more than 1,000 patents, usually thought of by his hardworking staff that he basically forced into slave labor to always work things out. But when he was trying to figure out the light bulb, he tried 1,000 different sort of materials for the actual filament of the light bulb, and they all failed. But he had this very interesting procedure that he would go through when he ran into a problem that he could not solve. Another characteristic of Edison is that he slept hardly at all. Life was so interesting, so creative, so fascinating, so challenging. There were so many worlds to conquer that sleep really seemed to him to be largely unnecessary. He would maybe sleep for a couple hours at a time, and that was it. And this is the case with many of the great ones in history, is that life was so interesting. There are many great yogis that didn't sleep at all. But anyway, if he would run into a problem, here's what he would do. He would close his eyes, sit down, and he would hold a rubber ball in his hand. And when he was wrestling with the problem, he would find that he was gripping the rubber ball. And so what he was looking for is this state of relaxation that would sort of naturally come upon him as his effort and struggle to, quote, figure everything out and solve a problem wouldn't work. And so he would start to relax a little bit and a little more. And then he would kind of drop into this state of consciousness between waking consciousness and between sleep. And there's a name for it now in modern brainwave theory. It's called theta brainwave state. It's that kind of drifty, dreamy, spacey state between wakeful consciousness and just pure sleep. But what he found if he was sitting there trying to solve a problem and he would just quiet down a little bit, there was this point where he would drop the rubber ball or get very close to it. And he found unquestionably that in that state of mind, the answer would just come to him. The answer to what material should I use? What combination? What haven't I thought of? What do I not know yet? What information is available? He knew the answer. He knew every problem had a solution. But sometimes when he couldn't figure it out, he would go into this, well, he had his method. He would grip the ball, sit for a couple minutes, and then the answer would come. Now, do we all have access to that same sort of vast reservoir of information? I really believe we do. But it takes this quietness of mind, this receptivity of mind, and I would say humility of mind to say, there's more that I don't know that I do know. And if I relax, get quiet, and I have a certain open-mindedness and humility of mind, which, occasionally I have that, in meditation, answers come. Now, I guess I could keep going and take up your whole day, but what's the kind of knowledge that we're really looking for? The kind of knowledge that solves problems. To solve problems, meaning where we were constrained, limited, depressed, sick, sad, or bereft of resource, we find what we need to bring about love and harmony and joy. And so congratulations on being a meditator. Every time you meditate, every time you just take a moment, quiet our mind, tap in, become receptive, we get answers that are really nothing less than a gift from the universe. The greatest knowledge is a pure, unadulterated, unalloyed gift given to us straight by infinite higher organizing wisdom. See you tomorrow.